Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io.
Hey, and this is Jack from emailsthatsell.com.
Today, Teardown.
Yep, we've got some emails in front of us. Some good, some interesting, but all of them something to take away to make your cold emails even better. So let's dive right into it. Actually, Jeremy, this is an email from you. And by the way, all emails today were from your lovely inbox, right?
Yeah, I've been through my cold email swap files. As Jack would say, I have a folder where I put all the cold emails that I received. And so we went through it and we picked up 4 today, I think. So that should be an interesting cast.
Let's dive in. The first cold email that we're going to tear down is brought to you by AdRoll, a company that does retargeting ads. I'm a fan of some of their other marketing pieces out there. So I was really excited to take a look at 2 cold emails that were sent to Jeremy. So without further ado,
I'd love to hear your thoughts on the cold email side.
Yeah.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, here we go. So the subject line is right person, ? Their first email goes something like this. Hello, Jeremy. I'm looking for the person that handles the online marketing for QuickMail.io. Could you point me in the right direction? Thanks. That's it. Short and sweet, 3-liner.
What do you think of that? What do you make of it?
I love the conversational tone. I think they could have done a bit better job by including at least just one benefit for you, why you should take time out of your busy day in order to take the action they're requesting of you, to actually point them in the right direction. Simply because they have so much to offer, but they're not mentioning any of it here. It's just relying on a quick conversational. Hopefully, this is a short and sweet, easy thing for you to do. They're sort of, I imagine, thinking that the shorter they make their email, the easier the request will seem. But if this was my piece, I may have thrown in a PS that explained why, or more importantly, what's in it for you. So I was thinking it'd be nice to throw in a PS that said something like, oh, PS, I'm asking because since QuickMail is in the SaaS space, but doesn't have a full-time marketing department, we might be able to help improve the ROI for, let's say, the AdWords campaign you just launched. That way, it's something obvious, an obvious reason why you might want to take action on this. Otherwise, it's sort of just doing this out of the kindness of your heart and not for the benefit of QuickMail.
Another valid PS would be like, hey, we've been having a lot of success with company like yours lately, and I figured out it'll be great to start a conversation or something like that.
Cool. Right.
Yeah, they got my name right. Hooray. But it is a classical, what I call go-to-market strategy, which is basically you're blasting a lot of company in order to figure out who's going to be willing to have a conversation with you. Like Jack said, this is a bit lazy on their end to just request something from me with actually zero value upfront. So a PS would definitely have been nice. I was thinking of a line in between that just at least, tell me what they provide, but a PS I think will work even better.
The only thing I can imagine that may help this email that we haven't discussed yet is the name recognition. You probably have heard of AdRoll before getting this email, and if that's the case, perhaps they were hoping to lean on the brand recognition probably a little bit too much. I'm seeing no good reason why they wouldn't include just one benefit, or like you said, at least a description of how they might be able to help QuickMail in here.
They could start with a question like, hey, have you thought about remarketing? Or is remarketing some priorities at QuickMail.io? If so, can I speak to the right person? Or would you be open to a conversation? But zero mention about who they are. And, I don't reply to strangers most of the time. So
I like that. And just to piggyback off what you just said, I think an intro that ideally if they could say, hey, Jeremy, I see you just rolled out some Facebook ads. So I wanted to find out who's the person that handles online marketing. Could you point me in the right direction? Because other companies like QuickMail that use Facebook ads, or, just wrap into the benefits so it's clear.
And the last thing I will ding them on is obviously they haven't done their research that much because I'm pretty much handling the entire business on my own. So that email, also it makes sense to have a go-to-market strategy when there are a lot of people at a company. When this is company so small as mine, I would expect they do the research and actually talk to the right people. Even, in a 3-person company, you wouldn't go ahead with a go-to-market strategy. I think that's silly. So startups, small companies, 5 people or less, you shouldn't go for a go-to-market strategy because it's obvious you're doing cold email. It's obvious you're lazy and not doing your research properly. And usually that doesn't go as well. So that goes well when there is a lot of people and it's not always easy to figure out what title should go with what.
Let's kick it over to their follow-up email.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, I do. So subject line they used was right person, ? Same subject line as before. It says, hey, I hope all has been well for you on your end. I wanted to circle back around to this to see if you could provide some direction for me. Thanks.
They dropped my name this time, bastards.
Yeah.
I will ding them for that.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually give them a point for dropping the name just because it doesn't happen all that often. And they've got it right in the first email. So I'm actually okay with that. I'm trying to think if I was following up with a colleague, I suppose that'd be okay just to drop their name as well. Again, they're really sticking to the conversational side of cold email, which is probably the best thing they have going for them, as you'll hear when I go into my little take on their bump email.
You know what? This is probably just a great template to start with. It's like a vanilla type of email. So if you have a go-to-market strategy, take this one and then just go and adapt it.
What's funny about that is I wouldn't be surprised if AdRoll came upon this template from somewhere in the internet and did the exact thing that you just recommended.
Maybe they're A/B testing, because that would be one of my remarks to them. Definitely, if they are not, they should definitely A/B test with a lot of different suggestions that we've been mentioning.
Very true, but I'm going to stick to a similar theme that we talked about in the first email I sent. This is a lazy email. There's nothing more than just bumping this up to the top of your inbox. Now, what I'm going to recommend them doing is to write what I call a bump 2.0 email. And that's just writing a quick, maybe a one-liner that floats this email to the top of the inbox, but still adds a new thing to the conversation. So instead of just saying, hope all's well, which, by the way, I think is very fake and it doesn't add a single thing to the conversation, that line can be deleted because it's almost a cold thing to say because it's so overdone. I don't like that sentence. But if they just said, hey, I wanted to circle back and see if you could provide some direction for me because company X and Y, also selling a type of email software, was able to use this to double their sales in 3 months and thought you might take interest or want to take a look or want to refer somebody to this to see if you can see similar benefits. Something like that would have brought a new bit of information to the table and maybe could have swayed you to decide that it was worth looking into.
Hey, did you read my email? Did you read my email? Did you read my email?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
All right. What's the next one?
What is the next one? This is, I'm going to say, probably the most interesting and confusing email that we'll discuss in today's Teardown episode. Fair enough, though. I'll read it so that you see what it is we're going to be discussing and why it's so confusing. Subject line is attracting funding, (2), close parentheses. All right.
What's that 2 for? No idea.
No idea. He's working on the curiosity, trying to get us to open the email. Okay, so here's what it reads. Hi, don't you need a highly experienced and super motivated customer success / support representative? My LinkedIn. And then the full URL to a LinkedIn profile. Moreover, I can help you attract outside investment for your business expansion. I have more than 20,000 investor contacts ready to hear your offer. Let me know. Thanks. Wow. What's going on here, man? So first of all, bring us to at least to try and understand a little bit. Are you actually looking for a customer success person? Were you? No. Okay. So that's even weirder.
No, not at that time. And I think it's okay to sort of like proactively reach out and There's just so much to say about this email. I don't know where to start. Well, let's start with the name drop. So there's no mention of my name, but yet the next line is, do you need a highly experienced and super motivated? I mean, where's the motivation here if you can't even figure out, what the name of the person you're contacting? One thing that we haven't also talked about is that you don't see it, but I'm actually BCC'd. I'm actually not even the target email. The target email is himself. And I'm just BCC'd, which is usually what you do when you're trying to send to, 50 people in one go, and you don't want your recipients to see who you've been sending that to. So obviously, would have benefited from maybe using a software, or if you were that motivated, maybe doing it manually and contacting people one by one. Because that really looks to me like someone who's trying to do automation by hand. That's why there is no mention of name. That's why you're using the BCC. It's just like,
rookie.
Right. Probably not that motivated. Yeah, totally.
A second thing, and this is more of a strategy slash mindset to adopt when you're writing your own cold emails. Notice how this individual added what I'll call two very different offers in one email. That's a big no for me. It makes things complicated. Is this person trying to secure a job, or is this person trying to hook you up with an investor and possibly make some kind of a commission for that? It's just, there's no singular focus on what they're trying to accomplish with this email. And that's why it's so confusing to me. And if you spend a little bit of time like reading through some sales psychology, you know that the default for the human brain, if it's confused, is to just not take action. So they're not helping themselves out by being confusing in this email.
I guess from the title, Attractive Funding, that's someone who wants to hook me up with investors. So what's strange is that the strongest line is effectively, do you need a highly experienced and super motivated customer support/support representative ? This is a really powerful email if you limit it at this line. This is great because then I know what this person is offering. And if I have a need at that moment in my business that I need to satisfy. So that's great. Everything else is like really strange. I mean, my LinkedIn address is okay. Then in this case, I can click and then verify who this person is and check if that ticks all the boxes. So I got nothing against that. I think it's great. But the rest of the email is just losing me. Like Jack mentioned, he's talking about something else. And then it's like, what should I reply to this one? And it just goes nowhere.
So I have a modification for this email that I think should help it get it back on track. I would have worded it like this. Hi, Jeremy, use your name. Do you need a highly experienced and super motivated customer success representative for QuickMail.io? ? So be specific, maybe about the exact job title that you've hired before. My LinkedIn profile is here in case you are curious. Would you be willing to consider a new candidate for QuickMail in the future? ? Just a direct call to action. And then if they really wanted or thought that an investor connection would be a plus side for them, maybe use that as a PS. Just PS, I love what QuickMail's doing. And if you're looking for funding, I'm happy to introduce you to some investors in my network. That's it. Just like a nice thing to build up reciprocity. But again, like the meat of the email is just focus on, can I help you?
And of course, there was no follow-ups of this email.
Let's keep it moving. The next Teardown email, subject line is interview request. The email reads, Hi, Jeremy. I would like to do a feature story about QuickMail. It would be published at techcompanynews.com. Tech Company News is a news website with a worldwide audience covering innovative companies. Please note there is a symbolic fee for this. Below you can find more information. Then there's a URL to the information advertising page, pricing. It ends with, looking forward to hearing from you. Now, Jeremy, you got this email. I'm curious, why don't you kick it off with your thoughts?
Okay, there are a few things. The first thing that comes to me is warning from Google that says, superb crew editorial has never corresponded with you using this email address. Be careful with this message, and then learn more. This is the new Nigerian prince scheme that is going on at the moment. And I'm not joking, actually. This is a new one. And basically they're saying to people, they're appealing to their ego and just saying, we're going to display you on our website and you're just going to pay like $90 or whatever it is. And I can see that working for sure. And it must have been because we keep receiving those type of emails. So I'm not sure, is that ethical if we actually say how they should improve it, given what they're trying to do?
Okay, wow. So for a fact, this is a scam.
Yeah.
Is it ethical? No. So let's not really say how they should improve it. But I do have some cold email theory to talk about inspired by this email. I feel like that's all right. The main one is this is a quick pitch. They are literally sending a pricing page on the first email. If you've listened to our show for more than 5 minutes, you know that I'm reading this saying, how dare you jump to a sale so quickly in cold email. So, and I'm kind of bummed out to find out this is a scam.
Let's leave it alone for now. Obviously, our listener pretty much know a lot of the things we are going to say about this email. But I'd like to talk about what do you think of a link to a pricing page on your first email?
No, I don't think that has a place. Remember, we're starting conversations with cold email. Linking to a pricing page is assuming your prospect has enough information that they're ready to discuss or learn about price at that point. And I think for almost every single case, that's going to shut down conversations as opposed to start them. I can't think of a single instance where including a pricing page is appropriate in the very first email. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, though.
I agree with you in 99.9% of the cases. There may be the case where, actually, you mentioned that in one of our previous guests, that pricing is effectively your big offering or your big differentiator. Like, let's say, for example, everyone in that industry is going after a certain business model, and your email is saying, like, hey, we are new in that market, we're using a completely different approach. And then, P.S., here's the page if you want to look at how we structure the pricing that may make sense with your company. Is that something that you would consider switching? Some stuff like that may actually make sense, but have to be in a very specific case.
So even if that's true, I still don't recommend linking to a pricing page. If your pricing is so miraculous that it is your unique selling proposition, then just throw it in a line in the cold email. If it's that good, it should catch their attention and start this dialogue that you're looking for them to do. If anything, piquing their interest enough to request pricing is a good first step for a cold email. And then you can talk price, send pricing information, send them to the sign up page, what have you. So let's jump over to the last email. This one has a follow-up email that we'll go over, but let's get started with email number 1. Jeremy, should I go ahead and read through it?
Absolutely. This one is very interesting as well.
Yeah, I like this one. Subject line, contributor, ? Hi, Jeremy. I'm first name, an email marketing specialist. I saw you've written about lead generation strategies, and then they've put a URL to the entire blog article. So it's quickmail.io/blog/ the title of the article. Email continues, and I wanted to offer you free content that includes tips for your readers on how to successfully incorporate email marketing tactics into repertoire. If you'll be writing more about lead generation strategies and or email marketing strategies in general, I'd love to offer some insight or a guest post. If you're not interested, just let me know and I won't follow up. Are you taking pitches? Best.
Yeah. So what do you make of this one?
I'm almost have my hands up, like excited about this email. In my notes here, I have nice, sort of. Here's what I mean. So I like how their offer is essentially free content for the QuickMail blog. I think that's something that's pretty hard to say no to, especially since she took the time to identify the topic or topics that she could help out with that was already on the QuickMail blog. So mentioning lead generation strategies and email marketing strategies shows that she did her homework. She did a good job with that. And again, she's offering a free article, which is hard to say no and hard to ignore. So that's the thing that I love about this email. However, 2 things bug me. She says she's an email marketing specialist, but there's a typo in the email that the I is not capitalized somewhere. And worst, she included a full URL in the email, which I think may be a problem for phishing. It's just not good cold email best practices. It looks kind of awkward to put in the full URLs. Maybe she should have just hyperlinked a keyword. So it makes me question.
Or the title, the name of the title.
Yeah, even better. Like, I'm wondering, is that a problem coming from an email marketing specialist? But let me end on a good note. Are you taking pitches? ? I think is a great call to action for email number 1. It's a simple yes or no to answer. And if you say yes, then likely you know that you're going to hear a pitch from this author who's ready to write on the blog for free. So she gets a check mark for the call to action.
This is an email that is part of a link building strategy. This is something that is becoming more and more common, that I see more and more. It's a great strategy for cold email. You're reaching out to people asking if they would be okay to have a guest blog on their website, which provides free content, which is obviously the value offered here. In exchange, they could place a few links and help raising the domain authority of their own domain. So this is something that a lot of SEO agencies are doing at the moment. And this is a great way of cold reaching out to someone. Same remark as Jack. It'll be nice if this is not the entire URL being linked here. That will look a little bit less robotic to some extent. Yeah, I think it's simple, effective. So how could we make it better? Or do we need to make it better at this stage, or is it good enough?
Yeah, I think we need to make it better. A couple of things we've already mentioned: fix a typo, shorten the link, and just hyperlink the name of the title, make it look natural. The intro sentence, I feel, could be a little bit stronger. So we keep talking about how introducing yourself in a cold email is probably not a good idea, because if they want to know who you are, it's in your signature in the same email. So I feel like they could have strengthened the email by using that first line to create a connection between you and this person reaching out. So instead of saying, hi, I'm...
Yeah, and remember, if you have one question to answer, the most important one is not who you are, but how you find us.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been much more powerful to say, hey, Jeremy, I just saw this lead generation strategy post, blah, 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 and I wanted to blah, blah, blah. That would have been way more powerful than actually just mentioning who you are, an internet marketing specialist, which honestly don't give a crap about. So that would have been probably a better way of phrasing it.
And even better, if I was this person, I would have sort of 2 steps to this cold email campaign. Step 1, I would have signed up for the newsletter of everybody I wanted to contact. And then step 2 is write an email that says, hi, Jeremy, I'm a new subscriber to your blog. I see that you write about lead generation strategies. And then boom, she can go into, I happen to be an email marketing specialist who writes about this. And then she can kind of continue the email as normal. But I think saying that you're a subscriber to your newsletter is much more powerful place to start this conversation.
What do you think of that? The first email would have been like, hey, amazing blog article. I really love when you talked about XYZ. Just wanted to shoot a quick thanks. And then, a few hours later is that, hey, by the way, actually, I'm thinking about, and then here's the pitch. What do you make of this?
Oh, that's beautiful.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good, sort of 1-2 punch there.
Worth trying, definitely.
Yeah, there's something here. Okay, so let's see how she follows up.
Yeah, she did send me a follow-up a few days after.
She used the same subject line. So it says contributor ? The email reads, hi again. I just wanted to follow up and see if you had a chance to read my previous email. To get a feel for the quality of content we can provide, you can take a look at our blog. And the blog here is linked properly. It just says blog with a blue underlined hyperlink. And then finally, it says, we'd love the opportunity to contribute as a source or provide a unique article for free. Are you taking pitches? ? A couple things I have in my notes here. Not bad. This is pretty good, but it's written a bit selfishly. Notice some keywords like, I just wanted to. Look at our blog. We'd love the opportunity. Instead, this could be flipped around so that it's written for you, Jeremy, so that the ball is in your court. It's obvious how you can benefit. However, one thing that I'm really happy to read here, they use this sort of bump email, but they included a new benefit. They gave a link so that Jeremy could take a look at the articles on that blog. At least that's a new bit of information included in the conversation so far. This is the kind of thing that I mentioned earlier where If you're sending a bump email, you might as well add something new, something beneficial to the prospect. And this is exactly what they did by linking to their blog here.
I really love the fact that it tried to address silent objection, which could be in my head like, hey, yeah, well, those guys usually they don't have a high quality. So if they come up with a bump email to say like, we are legit and you can have a look at the quality, it's just like, oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong here. That would probably like trigger me to reply kind of thing. So I do like that. I don't like too much the first sentence, which is like a typical kind of bump email, like, hey, have you read my email? I really don't like those ones. But kudos for addressing the silent objection. And I didn't receive another email type of thing, but that would have been interesting to try to see, if they could keep on adding or answering more objections as they keep following up.
I think you've nailed it. Answering silent objections in follow-up emails is basically the name of the game here. One last note I have for this email, they used the same call to action that didn't work in the first email. So I would recommend switching up the CTA to something different. For example, ending this email with, can I shoot you over some blog post ideas to review? Something just as easy to reply to, but a slightly different approach here could get a conversation started that wasn't able to be generated with the first call to action. Any other notes on this one or the emails reviewed so far?
No, I think that's great. Today, we wanted to let you know a little bit about different strategies that are used for cold emailing. So I hope we provided a good overview of some of them.
So go out there and address those silent objections in your follow-up emails, switch up your call to actions, and get some good replies in your inbox this week. Hey, cold emailer.
Yeah, you.
If you got some value from this episode, give us a high vibe by sharing a 2-sentence review on iTunes.
Or Stitcher or TuneIn. That works too.
It's a quick way to help other growth-minded folks like us find this podcast.
So they can send awesome emails.
And make everyone's inbox a better place. Thanks.